Hello, hello. Today is the 9th of August and I am starting my new vlog for Rules of Survival, aka Project Alien. So last time I was taking a break in the month of July and I did a little bit more slower work where I just worked on my outline, detailed outline for the scenes in my act 2B, and this time I want to write this act because I feel ready. I feel like I'm getting the itch to start writing a little bit more because it's been a little while, and if anything I feel like that break was really beneficial because I'm back to being really excited to write, and not that I wasn't excited, but I just was losing a little bit of it. To gain that excitement back and to feel the itch again, having a little purposeful 1 month long break was really good. It worked for me. This vlog is just going to be me writing Act 2B and drafting it from this detailed outline that I've worked on, and I'm just not going to stop until I'm done with it, and then we'll cut it and we'll get into Act 3 as a separate vlog. But yeah, I'm excited. Today's a busy day. I don't know how much I'm going to get down on paper because again, I've just had a month-long break, so I've not really written words in a while, and I feel like sometimes that makes me slower when I start again. But I'm just gonna base myself on time, and I think I'd like to write for like an hour. That'd be quite good. I've got to make my lunch, and then later this afternoon I'm going to my mother-in-law's birthday, so I've got plans throughout the day, but in between lunch and leaving the house I may have a little bit of time to write. So I think if I can dedicate 1 hour I'd be really happy. Today is Thursday, the 14th of August, and I have started writing again in this book, and I'm just so happy. I'm just really excited that it's flowing again. I haven't written a ton, but I am in the middle of a very intense action scene, and then the first 2 episodes of Alien Earth just came out, and I just feel like so much inspiration just because there is quite a lot of action. It does start quite early on in Alien Earth compared to the first original movie of Alien, so I am excited to be in that mood and in that zone while I'm watching this as well. And I have the day off tomorrow, so essentially today's sort of like my Friday, and I'm going to be writing quite a lot, I think. My plan is to do a big writing weekend. I do have my friend Marta coming over on Saturday with the idea of doing like a writing day in my house, so I'm really excited for that, and I think the weather is meant to be really good, so maybe we'll be outside a lot, I don't know. We'll see what she fancies, but that's sort of the idea and the plan in my mind. I did finish the first chapter I was writing in this second part after, well, in the middle of the midpoint really, because that's essentially where we are. And I finished writing the Axel POV scene and chapter. So I started the Themis one, and I really like what I started her chapter with, so I'll just read you the line. It's a dumb reflex. I lift my left arm, like Kovac is a bright sun my eyes need protection from. A stupid knee-jerk reaction that doesn't stop him from biting me. The tear through my flesh is brief and sharp. The sting of a million bees all at once. The pain registering slower than the visual gore. I screech. It barely sounds like my voice. I push him back with all my strength, slamming his chest with my feet, and he reels back, mouth still wide open. The black liquid seeping through his teeth mixes in with red. My blood. And then I'm currently in the middle of this passage within this scene where the jungle is waking up. All of the zombies are waking up from... Essentially, initially I was gonna have Themis wound the zombie form of Captain Kovac, but then as I was writing the scene, he is fast, and so he gets really close to her gun the moment she shoots, and so it was like, well, his whole fucking head would explode and the back of it would be gone, so he's dead. Especially if it's the UV coated bullets. So I changed my mind, and now he's actually like down for good. He's actually dead. As in, second death for a zombie. If anything, I think that helps a little bit, because in my mind, I was like, why would the zombies suddenly have this hive mind system when one of them just gets injured? Like, do they feel everything? Like, do they see everything through the eyes of another? It was not really making perfect sense in my head. And now I'm sort of like, well, if one of them dies and the parasite, you know, doesn't get its host anymore, then maybe that's when it wakes all the other ones. And that kind of makes more sense. So yes, I will update you guys as we go through my long writing weekend. So in a very quick update, I have written 872 words today. I am streaming tonight, and that's really helping with some of these words. And I'm just really happy that I've just finished my second scene in my list of 8, because I've got a total of 8 scenes that I'm sure I want to actually write in this act 2B, and I've just finished scene 2, which is officially, I think, the last scene that was part of the midpoint. So from now on, we're not really in the midpoint anymore, even though I'm staying in the same chapter when I'm writing scene 3, because scene 2 and scene 3 are both getting to the control room, then being in the control room. So essentially, I think they make a lot of sense to be in the same chapter, while scene 4 will be back into Axel's head, so it makes sense to change chapter then. That's how I'm seeing it. So yes, I'm feeling motivated about this, and I kind of feel like this Act 2B is gonna go really quickly. Touch wood, maybe I'm wrong. It just feels like right now it's already speeding up. I've just reached 54,000 words for the manuscript, and I'm thinking maybe this is an act that's gonna be a little bit shorter. Today is Saturday 16th of August, and I'm gonna get my friend Marta to come over today, and we're gonna be doing some writing together. I'm very excited. It is currently 10 a.m. I have already walked Edgar. I woke up a little bit earlier than usual for me. My next step is I want to do a little bit of cleaning around the house, and I would just like to vacuum like the living room and areas we're going to be in and get rid of as many dog hair as possible. I think that's my goal. I'm going to make myself a coffee, and then I might be doing a little bit of reading. I've been reading this book called Seven Figure Fiction, which is quite interesting. I don't know yet how I'm going to adapt it to my own books, but it's a craft book about universal fantasies that everyone aspires to and how they can be used to make your books more sellable and more interesting to people to read. So yeah, yesterday I wrote 875 words, I think, and I feel good about that because I have almost closed the gap in my monthly goal, which is only 10k. I'm not pushing myself too far this month, but we'll see if I write a lot more because I do have a mini holiday. I'm going to Brussels at the end of the month, so we'll see. It's a good beginning, so yeah. been a while. Today is Tuesday the 16th of September and I've come back from my holiday last Thursday, and since then I've written a little bit over the weekend. I wrote a little bit during my holiday, and then I went to pick up my dog at my in-laws beach house, and when we did that I had 2 hours one way on a train, 2 hours the other way on a train, so I did write a little bit during that day as well, which means I'm currently sitting at 65,184 words. We're still within Act 2B, but I have finished my chapter 21 and I was about to start my chapter 22, and I don't really have many sentences I'm like super proud of in the last chapter or so, because I feel like I was dragging my feet through it, and I think it's just because I was having difficulty actually sitting down and writing and just like thinking about writing and thinking about what comes next and all that. And I've noticed this is a recurring problem with me when I get close to my all is lost moment, as coined by Save the Cat. So the moment where everything is horrible, everything is awful, and the characters are like, what the fuck is the point anymore, because all is lost, before they, you know, pick themselves back up and then go on to Act 3, which is, you know, final battle, etc. Right? So whenever I approach that moment in my book, I tend to like, I don't know, fizzle out. Like my creativity is like, "Ah." And I feel like that's kind of what's happening, because the next chapter is going to be the one that will end in my all is lost moment. That will end with that big oh fuck moment where everything sucks, right? Which is, as I've mentioned in my last vlog, the moment where I kill my character Freddy and Themis is devastated about it, and on top of that Saturn is the one who kills Freddy and Saturn blames themselves, and so they leave the group, and so there's a possibility that they're dead as well, so everything, absolutely everything sucks. And I just have the one chapter to write. I'm like, I'm in there. I don't know how long it will take me to write it. I currently looking at my outline and the word count for the recent chapters. I'm averaging a little bit higher on Themis' POVs, and I thought I was going to have another Axel POV, and then I didn't. So his POVs are shorter, and then on top of that I really needed the last two chapters to be Themis' point of view, because there's a lot of thinking going on in her head about the traitor and who it could be, and I didn't think it made any sense for us to switch over to Axel's POV. And now we're writing the all is lost and it's going to be her POV again. So I guess I was having a nice little balance up till now, and now I don't really have a nice balance, but I'm trying to think of it in terms of this is something I can fix in post. If I feel like I would benefit from a scene or a chapter to be changed into Axel's POV, I can always do that and rewrite it from his POV. They're currently together, so it doesn't matter as much. I had some previous scenes where they were not always together, and so it was kind of fun to switch from one to the other because they were dealing with different stuff until they found each other again. So before I went on holiday, essentially I was writing my chapter 20, which I've titled Don't Hold Out Hope, which is when Themis and Axel gets stuck in the kitchen / mess hall, and she tells him everything he needs to know about Mission Eternity. So she essentially gives him a big old summary of everything that happened, and then a traitor, we don't know who, opens the doors and lets the undead, the infected, the zombies inside the mess hall. So they have to defend themselves, shoot them, back away, and go to the next door over, which is leading to the hangar. And that's my chapter 21. So they escape the zombies, they figure out that there's a traitor after they've got a minute to, breathe. That's when they decide, okay, there is a traitor, who could it be? Have a little think about it, and why. And so Themis has some more explaining to do, because she's also then explaining to Axel, I've been planting bombs everywhere because I need to explode the shit out of this settlement, so we never take the substance back to Earth too, because it would be bad for humanity and it would kill probably everyone. So that's the two chapters I finished. And chapter 21 I essentially wrote while on holiday, and it's 4K, it's 4,000 words. And now I need to write my chapter 22, my all is lost. I have a feeling it's going to be a chunky one because a lot needs to happen, and there's going to be a bit of emotional stuff and a little bit of actiony stuff. We've already had a little anyway, but we can't have a proper lull moment. There's always action at this point because the zombies are everywhere. It's a little bit difficult to not have action. I can have my characters be stuck in a room or safe in a room for a small amount of time, and that's what I've already had. I don't want it to be too repetitive either, so I just don't want to have the same way of fixing things, of having them be alone for a moment every single time. I need to make sure they're not in the same room and there's a different reason why they get stuck in the new room. So I need to have a think about that, because all I wrote in my initial outline, and this was written before I had my map, bear in mind, they managed to find a secure habitat to regroup. They're in the lab. They moved to the hangar. I'm gonna have them move to the lab, which is where they meet the rest of the crew and my all is lost moment happens. And then I think Saturn is just gonna fucking leave, so we don't know where they go. Perhaps, I think this is the moment that can lead to Themis running after Saturn and essentially Axel going with Themis. They don't find Saturn, they get in the infirmary, we get my Dark Night of the Soul moment. I think that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, having a little out loud think, again, rubber ducking it with you guys. I think that makes the most sense, and this is why I'm so thankful to Past Me for having made this map. It's so much easier to visualize what happens to the group, like who does what, where they go, what would make sense in terms of like the next habitat over, etc. And I think, yeah, the lab is definitely where it wasn't safe before, but I think we're gonna establish that the infected that were in the water tank have now left to go into the main habitat. And yeah, I need to have a little review of what I wrote so that the next steps make sense. This is also stuff that can be fixed in post. This is also stuff that can be a future me's problem. Today is Friday the 26th of September and I have just finished writing my all is lost moment. I think I will need to revisit it because I was trying to convey the shock of it and I don't know if I conveyed enough of the emotion of it, because I think it's just very much like a moment where Themis realizes it's too late, and I don't know how to explain it. It feels like there's not enough emotion into it yet, but on the other hand, that kind of emotion does need to come through in the Dark Night of the Soul moment, which comes after, which is when Themis is gonna start blaming herself and spiraling and realizing, essentially, if she had been honest about certain things and had trusted her crew with the information she had, maybe this wouldn't have happened. However, I've made it so at the moment where Freddy gets shot, she's also already very weak and sweating a lot from the wound she got from Lucky, and that's also what sort of makes Saturn think, oh, she's gonna turn, and that's why Saturn shoots her. But in reality, it's because of the blood loss, and so I think it's gonna help fix things a little bit with Saturn, because I don't want Saturn to just be like, and I killed someone that I really liked. I think it's going to be quite clear that essentially Freddy was going to die anyway and it was too late, and she probably would not have made it on time to the infirmary to get patched up. She had lost too much blood. So I don't know how I feel about it. I feel good that I finally wrote it. That's the thing. I feel really good that I finally wrote it. It's there, it exists. That chapter is 2,500 words-ish, and I'm currently at 67,734 words. I have 2 chapters left. So in my detailed outline, I wrote that I wanted a sort of bridge between the All Is Lost and the Dark Night of the Soul chapter where Axel takes over. So I want a POV from Axel because I haven't had one in a few chapters, mostly because Themis is going to go a bit catatonic, like just shock essentially, and so he sort of has to take over. So it makes sense that he's going to be the one we're in the head off. And I also think we need a moment where like his arc is sort of linked to Themis's arc, right? So this is the moment he thinks he's losing her as a person, and like he maybe fears that she's going to act upon what he was concerned about initially, which was that she was going to sacrifice herself to save other people, something like that. So maybe this is his own all is lost moment in a bit of a roundabout way. And then we're gonna get into the last chapter, which will be mostly Themis' Dark Night of the Soul, where she blames herself, realizes she could have trusted people more, etc., etc. And then the illumination moment, the moment where she thinks not everything is actually lost and there's some hope, and then might break into 3. Today is Saturday the 4th of October. I am so much later than I thought I would be. I really thought I could finish this at the end of September, but I fucked around a little bit, so I did not. But I'm finally finished with my Act 2B. I have just now written the last few words of it, and Themis and Axel finally kissed. That is the most important part. So I will redo the kiss, and then I will read you the last paragraph of Act B, which is really soon after. Oh, and we are sitting at 72,769 words. So my Act 2B is a little bit shorter than my Act 2A and my Act 1. But I mean, things might get reduced later, so it doesn't really matter. I think I was expecting to be there around 75k, so it's close enough. Here's the kiss. We both lean in simultaneously. Axel's lips are warm and soft and everything I've imagined. His kiss is like a spark of electricity, one that sends heat and life and butterflies throughout my entire body. I grip his jacket tighter at the feel of his tongue, and my lips open for him, deepening the kiss with want and need. We kiss like it's our last day in the galaxy, and maybe it is. And then, slowly, with regret, I end it. Axel's out of breath when our lips finally separate, and my heart's about to burst out of my chest. His stare scorches me, the want in his eyes almost painful, reflecting my own. We're on a schedule, I say with a sorry tilt of my head, biting on my lower lip. There'll be time for more kisses later. There will, Axel says, amusement tainting his tone. Of course, we're going to survive this, and we're going to find Saturn. I put a bit more distance between the two of us, worried I'll go back on my word without it, and end up kissing him again. Tapping my comms, I go straight to Lovelace. What are you... turning her off? Axel stares. And then I do it. I turn Lovelace off. Her prognostics would tell me something I already know. That the chances of finding Saturn alive are close to 0. That the chances of us making it out alive are just as low. And none of that is true. Because she doesn't understand human beings. She doesn't know how much I want to live, or what I'll do to get what I want. That's it. That's the end of Act 2B. Now I feel like I've done everything I wanted to with my outline, with my detailed outline. I feel like I've gone through all the motions, but also got the excitement back. I feel like that last chapter really got the excitement back for me to write. I don't know why it's always the struggle bus for me when I get to my all is lost moment, my dark night of the soul, an epiphany moment, like all of these moments I struggle with when I get to that point, and I don't know why. I think it's just because it's a sign that I'm getting, you know, almost there with my book. Maybe I'm getting tired and fatigued by non-stop writing and not like revising something else, and maybe I should switch between projects. So I'm very happy with reaching that goal, and that means that my next step is probably going to be outlining in detail Act 3 and then writing Act 3. On that note, after a long ass time, finally done with Act 2B, so we're gonna end this vlog. Thank you so much for watching, guys, if you're still there, if you're still enjoying this journey of me giving you as much detail as I can about writing this book. I hope that you're as excited as I am about getting into the third act, because that means we're almost done with the first draft. If you are enjoying this journey and you want to know more about it, leave a like on this video so I know. Consider subscribing to my channel, ring that bell, all that jazz, and I will see you guys in the next one.